Hey, all you DPC rebels out there, it's Dr. Shane back with another Friday 5-minute magic tip. So great to be back with you guys. Made it through some bad weather this week. Looking forward to a great weekend. Hope you guys are too. And want to keep our theme going. We're in a new year, so kind of keeping a theme going for January about growth, what things you're thinking about growth wise. As you think about employers and adding employers, think about ways that you can grow your business. So just thinking about 2024 and growth moving forward. Interesting couple of topics over the next couple of weeks I want to jump into about meeting with employers and some things just need to think about. We've talked about this many times before, but the truth is, as employers, they have no idea about healthcare, how it works, how it operates. That's the main fundamental thing you need to think about. Employers, not just employers, business owners, CEOs, the general public, they're so confused by healthcare. They don't understand how insurance works. It's just so confusing across the board. So just need to know that understanding. So it's an educational process going in. Talk a lot about that in my book, Education, Education, Education. So they certainly don't understand DPC if they're confused by the healthcare system, the pricing, the insurance system. They're confused by that a lot. And then when you throw DPC in there, that really makes it more confusing for them as well. Because all the thing they can think of is the traditional primary care system. They don't understand how direct primary care fits into that. And so we have to spend some time educating and teaching. You have to pull them in to thinking differently. It's all about thinking differently. These employers, these owners, business owners have to think of this differently. What is direct primary care? Is that concierge medicine? How's it different from traditional medicine? So you really need to think about that yourself. Do some thinking on your own. Like, how do I explain the difference between direct primary care, concierge medicine, and just traditional fee-for-service medicine? How is DPC different? What are the biggest things that I can tell somebody about how they're different? So you can begin to tell the story to employers and CEOs and business owners so they can begin to think different about, traditional medicine is this, and direct primary care is different. It's this totally new model of care that's replaced an old model of care. So it's a sort of a new way of thinking, even though we know direct primary care really is an old model that was, the original model of direct primary care was just take good care of patients, spending time with them. That got washed away through insurance plans and government rules. So we're just trying to get back to that old way. But the employers don't understand that. They don't see what DPC means and how it's a totally new way of doing primary care. So we have to educate them, have to spend some time to get them to think differently, have to pull them along. So I want to talk about some of that today, and then next week, ways about that you can begin to teach them about thinking different, how DPC is different. And so I want you to think about if you were writing out a PowerPoint presentation, or if you were going to give a talk, how would you explain direct primary care is different than traditional medicine? What are the problems? Think about the problems. What are the problems that DPC fixes for patients? And try to describe that. Think about the problems that it overcomes. What are the problems with a traditional system now? And begin to think about that and writing those down and how DPC overcomes those problems. And so one quick story I want to share with you to give you an idea about thinking different. And then we'll wrap it up and we'll get back together and talk about some specific things next week when we meet up again next Friday. So Otis Elevators. Next time you're in an elevator, look on the walls, on the floor somewhere. Almost always when you're in an elevator, it's almost always going to be an Otis elevator. So Elisha Otis, who was the guy who invented elevators some 170 years ago, back in the 1850s, he technically didn't invent elevators. He invented the safety mechanism to catch elevators so they wouldn't fall and crash. So before he came along, there were lifts that would lift stuff up, but if the rope broke or something happened, they would just crash to the ground, and things would get damaged. It was not good. So he basically invented the mechanism, a whole new category of things. He invented the mechanism to catch and safely stop an elevator if it started, the ropes broke or something happened. So he invented Otis Elevator Company, and nobody wanted to buy elevators. This was back in these days in 1850s, 1800s. Nobody built anything bigger than 4 stories because you had to have stairs to get there. So there was no lift. There was no elevator system to safely take people. So he invented this system and worked with several different people. I think he was in a famous a show with P.T. Barnum, and they did all these stunts where they basically put people and things in the elevator and lifted them real high. And he actually had the ropes cut so people could see, how it worked. So he had to change the way of thinking that people had learned about. Elevators are dangerous. You can't use them. He had to change their whole way of thinking to show them that this is a new category, a new paradigm. It's a total new way of moving things. And one of the languages he uses, one of the ways he taught people about elevators were at the time, the number one ways people got around long distances back then were trains. So people understood trains move things long distances. Well, he basically told the story about his new invention was going to be a vertical elevator, so they can move people and stuff vertically instead of horizontally like a train. So you want to try to get stuff moved from the ground floor to a higher elevation, you needed a lift, a safety lift. So he basically changed the whole understanding in the language to pull people in and help them to think differently. And now they still own 70% of the elevator market. Is still Otis Elevators. So you'll see those everywhere you go. And we would never have skyscrapers, these huge buildings. There's no elevators. We would never have skyscrapers. So until the safety elevator invented by Otis was made, we never have tall buildings. So that's the way I want you to think about thinking differently and trying to begin to structure as you talk to employers, talk to CEOs and owners, to think different about direct primary care, a whole different mechanism of getting primary care. And we'll talk more again next week about some of those problems that we overcome and that you want to share with folks as you continue to talk about DPC with employers. Hope you guys have a great weekend. You can connect with me at drshane at dpcmagic.com. So drshane at dpcmagic.com. I'll try to put this up there for you so you can see. Love to chat with you there. Hopefully be seeing you guys at some conferences soon. Got a lot of those planned coming up. Love to meet with you and chat about DPC and employers and growing your business, hiring new physicians, all kinds of things that we talk about as you continue to grow. Otherwise, you guys have a great weekend and just keep the